What's going on, all my good people out there in social media world, man? How y'all doing tonight? I believe tonight we got a really great live for you all tonight to tune in and to enjoy. Normally we're doing dollar discussions where we're talking about personal finance, financial literacy, but this week I wanted to do something different. I wanted to focus on some fatherhood. I wanted to get some great dads that I know, and I wanted to kind of pick their brain, and I wanted you all to kind of tune in and see what these great dads have to offer, what kind of advice. I feel like fatherhood is something that needs to be more in the forefront of conversation, especially black dads. I feel like, a lot of black dads get a lot of bad reps, but it is a lot of great dads out there holding it down. So I definitely wanted to get some on, and I wanted to help, start a conversation. So like I said, I got some great dads. Taurus, we'll start with you. Introduce yourself to the people, tell them who you are, what you do.
So my name is Taurus Sanders. I work as a licensed counselor. I have 4 children, 3 daughters and a son. Been married 13 years. Lived in Colombia most of my life. So I guess that's it.
All right. What about you, Rodney? Introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Rodney Foster. I'm about to have 3 kids. I have one on the way. It's supposed to be due on Tuesday, but she's not here. So so I have 3 kids, a daughter and 2 girls. Been married 7 years. I do accounting. I'm also a musician, play bass. So you'll see me around Columbia doing the music thing.
Not mad at that. All right, so let's get to it. All right, Taurus, did you, like, growing up as a child? I know with me, I always saw myself as a family man, but did you see yourself as a dad at any period in your life, like at an early age, maybe?
Knew that I was probably gonna get married. I really didn't think too much about kids, and one of the things about me is I grew up as the only child, so I didn't have any siblings or anybody else to kind of share my space. But I did have, friends that I grew up with that were, like best friends. So I would say that the irony is, I have 4 kids. My wife has a large family. She has 3 siblings. So I never thought, even after being married, that I would have 4 kids. So that's kind of like the irony. But that's just kind of how it turned out, and we're done. We're not having any more, but
they say 5's a charm.
and for me, but so yeah, that's the irony. Just the difference between my childhood and my adulthood with kids is quite different.
Definitely. Rodney, what about you? Did you always see yourself as a dad?
Yeah, I always kind of knew that I'd have kids. Ever since I was young. I mean, I had a brother and a sister, and we were real tight. My family's really big, so I knew I was gonna be a father more so than I knew I was gonna be a husband, to be honest.
Okay, good. Transparency.
It worked out the right way.
Say that last part again.
I said it worked out the right way. Got the wife and got the kids,
Good. Same here. Got the wife and got the babies.
Yeah.
All right.
I knew I didn't want to have kids outside of marriage. Yeah, that just wasn't.
Yeah. Same here, and especially like, I guess once you're in your early 20s, me seeing like some of the trials some of my friends and buddies had to go through, I was like, Lord, not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Not I.
Yeah, I'm a child of divorce. I never wanted to visit my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you get them on Saturday, we got to meet at the border. That was never something I wanted.
Right.
Yeah. Same here. All right. So let's start with you, Rodney. What does being a dad mean to you?
Being a dad, what does that mean to me? It means being protective, being responsible, being an example. I think those are the 3 things I take from it most, and having fun, because having kids and chilling with them and hanging with them is fun, man.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Taurus. What about you? What does being a dad mean to you?
I believe being that that male figure in terms of what personifies a man, not necessarily the strong part, but just being the one that is not easily moved, emotionally, can still be, logical and clear-headed even under pressure. Kind of has a solution to the problems, but at the same time can still be present and engaging while, kind of like driving the car. You can still interact with the people in the car as passengers.
Yeah, I like that. Very good answer. So if y'all tuning in, wave to me in the comments. Let me know that you're watching. Let me see who out there. I see the viewers in the corner, but I want to know who out there watching me. Y'all say what's up to me. So Torres, you kind of answered this a little bit. I ask you, Rodney, what is the role of a father in the household?
The role of a father in the household is to give a direction. I feel like when your kids look at you, they can kind of see a bit of themselves, who they are, and who they want to be. They also can see who they don't want to be, as well.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like, I feel like that's the role. Working with mom. I know like my roles have kind of changed. My expectations of being a father, and in my actual roles, like I never thought I'd be the type of person who wants to learn how to do hair so I can help my lady out and get my daughter on out. You know what I'm saying? Just like stuff like that. I'm the guy that picks up. I'm the guy that's at the schools. The teachers know my face. That's just certain things that I wanted, because when I went to school, when I grew up, I didn't know who anybody's dad was. I knew who everybody's mom was. And so like I just always wanted to be like Tara said, that presence in the kids' life. They know their dad gonna be there.
Absolutely. With our first child, Grayson, I was at every appointment talking to the doctor. I was there. It didn't matter what I mean, from pregnancy on to like to the point where Kiosha was like, you don't have to come to like every appointment, right? You don't have to be there. I was like, yeah, but I'm still gonna be present. Like you both said, I definitely want to make my presence known. All right, so this past Sunday, right? We had our gender reveal. So the wife, she didn't want to tell. She didn't want me to know. She didn't want anybody to know. She said, no, last time you found out early. This time we doing a gender reveal. So I'm like, all right, fine, because she was set on it. So I said, okay, cool. So we had it at Saluda Shows outdoors, small group of people. And she took the sonogram out of her purse, gave it to her cousin to set up, the photographer to set up everything. They had us all lined up. It's all nice and neat. And it's like, close your eyes and we're going to pop the smoke. And they popped the smoke and I opened my eyes and it was pink. And I was like, what? Like, what's this? Like in my mind, I just knew I was having another boy. Like in my mind, I was like, okay, Grayson about to have a little brother. So both of you all are girl dads. So when I found out I was having a girl, I skipped all of childhood. I skipped potty training. I skipped ABCs. I skipped daddy-daughter dances. I went like straight to adulthood. And it wasn't even in the good sense. I was like, man, we got this gender inequality stuff going on. It's a lot of men ain't this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I'm starting to stress. And we just found out, my little bun is still in the oven. So I just went straight to adulthood. So I'm like, man, I need to talk to some people, man. So I asked y'all, Torres, you can go first. How was your reaction? And of course, you have 3 girls now. How was your reaction when you found out you were having a little girl? Like, were you excited? Did you want a girl? Like, how did you respond? How did you react to that?
So, of course, I wanted a son all first 3 times.
Okay.
And, that's kind of what I was proclaiming and claiming. So it was a little disappointing, but, quickly turned that around. Because, obviously the gender is really up to the man ultimately, but, ultimately it's in God's hand too. So I just really wanted to make sure we had a healthy children. So that was, at the end of the day, what was important. But I will say having daughters first definitely changed me. It definitely softened me. And I'm sure that's probably why it happened that way first, because God's like, some things about you need to change. So that was probably the best way it would have happened. If I would have had a son first, I probably wouldn't have been the dad I am today. So I think it all happened in the right order.
Okay. Rodney, what about you? When you found out you was having a little princess, how did you respond?
Well, it was a nervous and a joyful thing. Joyful because I feel like I had a boy first, so having a daughter, I was like, all right, it's complete. We good. Boy, girl, we good. We got it, we got it straightened out. And then it was like, oh snap, I got a girl. Like, it's like, I know she's gonna soften me up. I know I'm not gonna handle her the same way I handle my son, just because, Taurus, you already know that relationship with your daughter is just it's way different. Not worse, not better. It's just a different dynamic.
Yeah.
And I was like worried about like something as simple as like changing her. Like I was like, so like, I don't want to wipe too hard. I don't, ladies telling me front to back, all that stuff, I was just like,
yeah,
it's just, kind of just tripped me out, like how I would do that. I'm holding her way more gentle than I'm holding my son, you know what I'm saying? But she's just as rough. Just as tough, so it's just like, I was joyful and nervous.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm still kind of nervous, a little nervous, but because it's I keep hearing, it's life changing. Once you have a daughter, it's life changing. I keep really hearing that thing. All right, so Taurus, we'll ask you first. Has having girls, has that changed at all how you view women? At all? Has it stayed the same? You're still pretty mellow. Has it changed how you view women at all, having daughters?
I don't think it's changed my view of women. I grew up with, women primarily anyway. A lot of strong women, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, I always think about them as women, in the future, and things that I hope they don't do or who they, don't become. I want to make sure like they're independent and self-sufficient, so where they can take care of themselves and they're not really dependent on, a man or whatever the case may be, but that they can also coexist with a man. Like they don't have to, be submissive, totally submitted or totally dominant either. Teamwork. So, yeah, I don't think my view has changed.
All right. If y'all watching, say what's up to me in the comments. If y'all got any questions, anything that y'all would like to share, any thoughts about fatherhood, type it in the comments for me. Also share this video. Let's let some other people join into this beautiful conversation. All right, so let's keep going. My next question is What are some of your thoughts and feelings / fears? Like how do you, trying to think of the right way to ask the question? Do you have different, I guess, fears about your daughter or about your son? Like, do you have different thoughts or feelings about raising them? Like certain things scare you about this gender that it might not scare you about another gender, or your daughters versus your sons?
Well, yeah, because you have to, if you're like the type of dude who's like, there's no difference in like how women are treated and men are treated. When you have a daughter, you really, like, if you didn't admit it before, you'll definitely admit it. Like, yeah, it's a little different how we treat the ladies and how we treat young men. For me, with everything going on, police brutality and stuff like that, I'm thinking like ahead, how I got to teach my son how to, if he ever encounters the police, how to be. Right now, my kids are cute to everybody until he turns 12, 13. I don't know, when that age is, but whenever it seems threatening, I'm thinking about that in the future. I'm also, thinking about my daughter. We kind of talked about it earlier before we came live, like the Breonna Taylor and the charges, and just thinking about all that stuff. Personally, all that stuff has had an effect on me. Even like waiting on my daughter to come now, I'm kind of happy she didn't come on Tuesday, because just the weight of everything this whole year, 2020 and the pandemic and all that stuff, it just kind of has an effect. And you just kind of think about the world we live in and how is it going to be any better for them? And how are they going to navigate it? How are we going to teach them to navigate it? I don't want to teach my son about racism too soon because he can't, he doesn't see that yet. But it's something really good that's going to come at some point. And I want him to be prepared, but I don't want him to not have his innocence. It's kind of that's something that us Black fathers, we have to balance. And it's not right, but it's what it is.
So that's a great point you made. Torres, I want to ask you, your kid's a little older. At what point do you think, or will you, or if you have already, start talking to your babies about racism?
I think we started having the conversation a few months ago, and I think what prompted it, I think we were talking about something, and we never really focused on race, with our kids, like black or white. So, they were using terms like brown and yellow in a conversation. It was kind of funny, but it also just let us know that, they weren't aware of like race, how we know it, as adults. But, it's important for them to be aware of, the country that we live in, the history, obviously, of our people, and how they are not always seen for their character content. But I don't want to focus on race because, one of the things that I've been dealing with in terms of what's been going on in society is I think if we focus too much on race, we're going to miss a lot of the other things that are problematic under the umbrella. And, we're always talking about racism, but racism is just the arm of the body. It's not the problem itself. It's just a form of evil, but there's a lot of other forms as well. And if we focus too much on race, we're going to, we get knocked upside the head by the other things that are definitely, hurtful as well. But yeah, I'm gonna have the conversation, or we're going to have the conversation about it on an appropriate level, but not really focusing too much on race because I don't want them to be that self-conscious. And I think a lot of times as, Blacks, African Americans, we are so aware of where we are, especially when there aren't many of us, that can cause us to be or act a certain way. And that's not right. We should just be ourselves regardless of where we are. Being aware for safety reasons, obviously, but other than that,
absolutely,
you shouldn't be self-conscious about your race.
Absolutely. So, Rodney, what do you feel like your daughter needs from you as a father?
I feel like she needs my presence. She needs. I feel like your daughter is kind of like the first. You and your daughter, father and the daughter is like the first kind of relationship she'll have with a man, anyway. And we've seen where those kind of if those relationships aren't good, where they can kind of lead to as far as not being healthy relationships. So you have, for me as a father, I get to be the first healthy relationship for my daughter. And that's absolutely what that's what I want for both of my kids, or three of them. But, that's what I want to make sure that they have an example of a healthy relationship, not just with just me and them, but me and their mother as well,
Absolutely. Torres, I asked you the same question. What does your daughters, what do they need from you as their father?
Well, I do. Unfortunately, I cover this a lot with my clients because a lot of the issues that I deal with, unfortunately, go back to childhood. And what I tell them is, if you're a male, your mom is supposed to be your first love, and if you're a female, your dad is supposed to be your first love. In the healthiest form, the purest form. And then when you don't get that, or you get that in a very dysfunctional or unhealthy way, it skews how you attach to that opposite sex. How women have patterns of unhealthy relationships, or they're trying to fill that void or that emptiness that they didn't get from their father, or sometimes they marry a man just like their father. So there's a lot of shaping and forming that happens in those relationships, you know, with mothers and fathers. But the other thing that I also really think about now is, you know, father's power, influence in a child's life is so significant, because one of the things I believe is that a father has the ability to really bring out a lot in their children, you know, by confirming things. But when a father is, you know, critical or negative, or, you know, saying some untruthful things, that definitely has a negative impact as well. But I think, you know, a father's vision or the way they communicate that to their kids in terms of acceptance, validation, and love, it is very detrimental. We kind of see it today in some of the ills of children and, you know, their behaviors.
Absolutely. I heard a quote one time. It said, this was so good. They could have put this in the Bible. It said, David could have wrote this. It said, my job as a father is to as a father is to make sure my kids have a childhood that they don't need to heal from.
Right.
And I thought, I was like, man, that's so true. Because Taurus, you know, like you just said, a lot of the issues, and everybody, Taurus is a licensed counselor. So definitely feel free to reach out for him. He's a licensed counselor. But a lot of the issues, you know, that are plaguing us in this world, actually, it goes back to childhood. So let's talk about the boys for a second. Let's let the boys get some love. What do you think is most important, Rodney, about your relationship with your son? Like, what does he need from you as dad?
When I think about what he needs from me, I think about what I didn't have. You know, I think about my people were divorced, so my dad was away a lot, right? So I always think about just those moments, those special moments, you know, being at the sports games, you know, being a fan, cheering him on, having those conversations, you know, when he has questions about life. And there's not too many deep conversations right now while he's 6, but
yeah,
he's still they're very inquiring at their young age, and just got questions about everything. And he thinks I got all the answers. And, you know, I want to be the person that has the answers for him. But it's just being there for him. And I just want him, kind of what you said earlier, when they look back, I told my lady this earlier, when they look back on their childhood, or something happens to me and they think about their dad, they got good memories, you know. And I just want to pile up those memories for them.
All right, Miss Shalisa, I hope that answered your question. It said, how is your parenting influenced? How is your parenting influenced by your experiences with your father? I hope that answered your question. Rodney just hit that on the head. Taurus, your baby boy, what does he need most from you as his father?
Well, I think I want to also respond a different way to that question. So I didn't have my father consistently in my life growing up, and that did impact me. And initially, when I was thinking about how I was going to be a father, I had made the statement prior to my oldest daughter, Aiden, being born. I was like, I am not going to be the father to my daughter or my child that my dad was to me. And I thought like I was saying something that was pretty good and positive. But, you know, the Lord began to deal with me, and he showed me that I was focusing too much on my father and not focusing on my fatherhood. And I was going to get distracted and mess up. So I had to change that. I had to change that narrative. And one of the things I said was, I'm going to be present in my children's life. I'm going to be present physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And I think if I did that, then everything else would be covered under that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Great answer. Let's keep going. If y'all got any questions, I see the questions coming in the comment. Please drop them in the comments. Also, please hit that share button. Let's let some other people join into the conversation with us. Let's go to Fallon. Fallon says, what areas do you feel like you show up best as a dad? That's a great question, Fallon. Let's start with you, Rodney.
What areas do I feel like I show up best at? I don't know, because I really just don't think about it. Like what areas, I'm just trying to be there. I'm just trying to be the best dad I can be. I don't really think about any specific thing. It's not I like what Tora said. I'm not thinking about what my childhood was like. I'm not competing like who's the best dad. I'm just trying to be the dad that I want to be. So I don't really think about it as far as areas. It's just, hey, my kids need me. I'm showing up. Like
off top. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Taurus, what about you? What areas do you feel best you show up as dad?
That's a hard question. I think my children know that I'm available, and I try not to be unavailable. You know what I mean? Like I'm too busy, or I don't have time, or I'm not interested. I think there's times where I am busy, or sometimes I say, just give me a moment or whatever. But I started something a few years ago with my my two daughters, and then when the third one came along, she was just kind of like the baby along for the ride. But I started on Fridays. I did a daddy-daughter date night, and I've been doing that for a couple years. We kind of doing a little different now with COVID, but I wanted to
pick a different room.
So it kind of worked out because my wife works on Friday night, so it was just me and the kids anyway. So it was a way for us to have this one-on-one time, them to know that, hey, this is a time for you, for us. And it's kind of something that we've grown to enjoy. And it keeps me connected with them because, life can get so busy and sometimes you can not pay attention to things, and, that can be detrimental. But I think I'm pretty present with my kids, and that allows me the opportunity to do that too.
Good deal. All right, y'all, keep posting them questions. We don't have too much longer. I told them both about 20 minutes, so I don't want to keep them all.
Good, man. We ride. We good.
I don't want to keep them too long because I'm gonna have to ask them to come back again. All right, so I definitely, man, I want to challenge you two and definitely everyone that's watching, to start having that conversation about fatherhood. Especially as I said earlier, black dads, a lot of black dads get such a bad rep, and all you hear about is a lot of negativity, but it's a lot of great dads out here holding it down. And I definitely want to start celebrating them and definitely highlighting them and just having a conversation, to uplift one another. Because, great dads, they do, and great moms, they make a difference, of course. But tonight we're just talking about the dads. Great dads matter. So let's go to the last question. And if y'all got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and we'll get to them. So what advice would you give to your dad? Would you give to a dad about being a positive influence? Like what advice would you give to a dad, any dad, about being more of a positive influence? Like how can a male be a positive influence in their kid's life? Let's start with you, Taurus.
I will say just remember how your children see you, even if you can't see yourself. And especially for fathers, with our children being our seed, that is something that kids look for. Especially they wonder how they're going to be when they get older, and one of the best ways to see that is by seeing their dads, and just remembering how influential or hurtful our influences can be as well, on either side. But I think just really remembering to try to bring out what is in your child and not try to create a child that you would approve of, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. You mentioned the term, this is your seed. And, Miles Monroe, he has a great definition of cultivation. He says cultivation is bringing the best out of something. And if you want to reap any kind of harvest from any seeds, you have to cultivate it. You have to bring the best out of it. You have to nurture it consistently, water it, make sure that thing is getting sunlight, be the light of your child. Rodney, I asked you too, what advice would you give to a dad about being a positive influence in their kid's life?
It's very similar. I was going to say a lot of the same stuff that Taurus said, but I think one quote that kind of comes to my mind is that people don't always remember what you do, but they always remember how they feel, like how you made them feel. And we describe like children as a seed. You know, they remember. It's our job to pour into them. I can remember everything that my parents did or said, whether they be positive or negative, and they all have an effect as you grow up. You may not realize it; they won't realize it until they get older. But it's just our job to just, you know, it's just a presence thing. You got to be there for them. You got to, you know, speak life into them. I mean, it's just as spiritual as it is physical. Not just physically being there, emotionally being there. You know, they need us. We're like, our role is important, and don't let nobody think that.
Let me piggyback off of what you just said as far as being, you know, emotionally there for them. You know, and I go back to my time as a working as a social worker nonprofit. Like your sons as men, your sons, they need emotional love too. You know, your son needs to hear "I love you, son" from his dad. It's okay for you to kiss your son and tell him you love him. It's okay for you to hold him. It's okay to develop, you know, emotions in your son at an early age, because you don't want to just, you know, have some emotionless, heartless man just roaming around here, just, you know, breaking hearts. Like it's okay. Your son or you as a dad are no less than from being emotional with your son. I kiss my son all day long. I love you. I love you. He probably tired of me, but he's gonna feel him. Timothy has a very great question, and Timothy is an amazing guy as well. He said, "Do you feel that being a husband strengthens your role as a father?" I guess Taurus, you can go first with that one.
Oh, absolutely. I think I remember the first couple years of fatherhood, you know, well into our marriage. I realized like I was a better father than I was a husband. And, you know, that was brought up a couple of times, like, you know, why can't you be, you know, just as
get off my toes, Taurus.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm about to get off this thing.
You know, there's some reasons for that, but we don't have time for that show. But yeah, it definitely does. I find myself wondering like what roles me, you know, my wife and I play in our marriage compared to what the like traditional roles are. And I find like sometimes there's no defined lines, like, you know, nothing really considered mommy duties or something's considered daddy duties. I just kind of, you know, get in where I fit in or where there's a need, and try to, you know, support and keep things going. You know, my wife, we really have a good balance. You know, the way we kind of operate, she handles a lot of the day-to-day things, and then when I get home, I just kind of, you know, see what needs to be done or try to support or just kind of provide some relief. But she handles the majority of it, so it really helps and it allows me to kind of do what I need to do here, you know, in my office. I don't have to worry about, you know, what's going on or what's being taken care of or what's, you know, falling apart. So she does a very good job of that, and it's necessary, you know, especially, you know, the wife's supposed to be a helpmate. So, you know, she got to be helping something. So,
right. So I definitely want to piggyback off something you said, a point you made. You talked about gender roles. And I definitely want to say, you know, as a man in 2020, you know, there are no more gender roles. You know, the wife isn't at home all day, you know, taking care of the house. The wife is also at work. So, like, if you got to vacuum, wash dishes, do laundry, you know, I do all that stuff. And that doesn't make you less of a man, you know, to wash clothes or to fold clothes or to vacuum. So definitely, please know in this year 2020, there are no more gender roles. Rodney, I want you to answer that question too. Do you feel like being a husband strengthens your role as a father?
Well, yeah, I definitely feel like it does, because it's hard to do it by yourself, right? So like the areas where I'm frustrated or I just like my patience is thin, we all get there. We just ain't got it. We ain't on. The world is affecting us. I got my wife there to kind of pick up the slack. And same thing for her. When she ain't on, I'm there. And, you know, I got her back. And I just think it's important. It takes two people to make the baby. It's gonna take two of them to take care of them. So like that's exactly. You know, how I feel about it. So yeah, it definitely helps me.
Fallon says Taurus for the masterclass. Taurus, Taurus kind of got a leg up on us, Fallon. He's a licensed counselor.
Yeah.
So he can get in our mind, get in your head a little bit better than what me and Rodney can. But definitely, man, if y'all got any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. We'll try to get them answered. This is Taurus contact information. If you need a session, you want to sit down and kind of talk some things out for whatever might be bothering you mentally or on your mind, definitely reach out to him. This is his contact information. Tell him you saw him on Facebook and you wanted to reach out to him. He's definitely a great guy. He helped me at probably one of my hardest periods in my life. He was there for me, and this is before he was licensed. And he was there with me every step of the way at that point in my life. So definitely, I know him, Taurus, since I was like 14. He's a really, really great guy. So definitely reach out to him. Also, my man Rodney got a show coming up. He's a musician. He has a show coming up on October the 1st at Shades Lounge. I hope I'm saying it right. At 7 p.m. I want y'all to reach out, man. I want y'all to get some tickets and go support my boy. So definitely, man, these are some great guys to and also, man, did y'all like tonight? I noticed the viewership was up a good bit. If I feel like we should have more of these dad conversations. If y'all feel like that too, man, just leave me something in the comments. Say you enjoyed tonight. Hit the share button if you enjoyed tonight. Let me know something. Might have to do this again. Make it maybe like a regular thing. So Taurus, any parting words? Anything you'd like to say to any dads out there?
Yeah. So one of the things I really want to encourage, challenge, and press upon fathers is to not practice or not model shutting down. Don't teach your kids or don't shut them down emotionally, because that is something that bears root in childhood and then definitely bears a fruit of some sort in adulthood. And those things have to be worked out, or that's really how acting out comes out anyway, because it's all suppressed emotions. And I think that's one of the issues that we're having now is that we've been taught as men to not be emotional, or emotional as being weak or being soft. But emotional is part of our human dynamic, and by doing that, you're really disregarding or rejecting a part of yourself. And that's never a healthy thing, emotionally, spiritually, or otherwise. So I would just encourage fathers to not do that, to really, nurture and embrace emotionality, not just with sons, but also with their daughters as well. And not feel like you have to portray this hard figure to be a father, to be a husband. That's not healthy.
That's some words of wisdom. We have one comment that says, don't shut down on the wives either. Not sure which one of y'all that's for. If he's saying this too. Hey, I'll tell you like this. I ain't shutting down. I'm just choosing when we need to talk about it. And right now ain't the time to talk about it. So let me just throw that out there in the atmosphere. Rodney, what kind of parting words you got for any dads out there?
Well, remember that you are leaving a legacy when you have kids. It's not a performative thing. It's not just for pictures so everybody can see that you got a kid. It's way more than that. It's an actual relationship that's gonna hopefully outlive you when you're gone, because it's gonna keep passing down. So it's a legacy. Don't be afraid to change your daughters and change, you get to them diapers, saying? Especially if you're like a new father and you're about to have your first kid, they dad proof, they first parent proof, they bounce if you drop them.
Hey, no, don't drop them. Don't drop them.
But you'll be okay, what I'm saying? So if anybody has, getting ready to have kids, everything's going to be all right. Just attack it head on. You're going to be good. There's a lot of resources. You'll be all right, but you're leaving a legacy. And
absolutely. I use when our first child was born, I used those couple of days in the hospital as like training grounds. I was like, okay, well, how do you change a diaper? Okay, now how do you what's the thing called when you wrap them up?
Swaddle?
Swaddle, yeah. Like how do you swaddle? So I learned all that in the 3 days. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, it is a lot of great resources out there, man. And definitely feel free to reach out to anyone. And also, even though you are a man, it's okay to say I don't know and to go seek advice or help. Like, you know, in this information age, ignorance is a choice, but ignorance as a dad is dangerous. And it doesn't have to be like that. Like, feel free to reach out. If you know me, you know I'm not afraid to ask any questions or look up a book or anything like that. So definitely doesn't make you less of a man to say I don't know. But yeah, that's all I got for tonight, man. I told these guys 20 minutes. We're going on 40. I'm gonna blame it on y'all as my audience for asking all these questions. So hopefully they won't be too mad at me for running over. Like I said, man, if y'all enjoyed tonight, man, I definitely think like we should do this again. Have another dad discussion. But if y'all feel like it, man, just hit the share button. Let me know if we need to do this again, and we'll keep it going. But thank y'all for everybody who tuned in and chimed in today. Definitely need it. And I challenge y'all to go, you know, share some positive words to a dad that's out there holding it down. And Fallon, oh yes, that's a great point, Fallon. All dads should have this one paycheck book. That is absolutely right. You can get that off of Amazon or off your boy. I got a couple copies on me right now.
I got mine.
Yeah, let's go, man. So definitely, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.